All business owners, get ready and get set as MLGW levels the playing field in the 2021 virtual Proactive Procurement Fair to provide all locally owned, minority owned, and women owned businesses with education, opportunities, and empowerment, taking their business to the next level for growth and sustainability.
Well, hello, I'm JT Young, President and CEO of Memphis Light Gas and Water, and I want to welcome each of you to our 2021 Proactive Procurement Fair. This is a marvelous opportunity for each of you to learn more about our procurement process. We are certainly engaging with you and excited that you are here with us as minority-owned, local, small, and women-owned businesses. This is going to be a great day, a great opportunity for you to learn about the processes that we go through, and we can learn more from you. We are seeking to be very intentional, as many of you know, about how we engage with vendors like you so that we can make sure that we are providing the value that needs to be provided for the things that you do. I can't thank you enough for the services that you provide for this community. You'll be having some opportunities to engage with some of the user areas. You'll be able to learn some of the things about the processes and also just glean best practices from this opportunity. In addition, we have some of our partners like the Mid-South Minority Business Continuum, the City of Memphis, the airport. There will be a number of opportunities to engage and just, again, glean information one from another. And so we think this is a great opportunity. Grateful that you're able to join us. Certainly would hope that we could have done this in person, but of course protocol requires that we do it this way. Thank you again for being here. We look forward to continuing to engage and doing business with you in the future. Any questions that you have, we of course have staff available to engage even following this event so that we can make sure that we follow up in the appropriate way. Thank you again. Thank you for everything that you do for our community. We look forward to this forging ahead with a great partnership with each of you as we move forward in our vendor environment with you and procurement environment with you. And again, we wish you the best today in this event. Thank you again. Have a blessed day.
This year's fair is exactly what you need to launch your company to the next level. Receive valuable resources and learn from the experts in finance, the public sector, and the nonprofit arena. Next up is our live panel discussion with industry experts, followed by MLGW staff in key areas such as IT and informational services, water engineering, line clearance, maintenance, and more, all sharing what it takes to secure governmental projects. Let's now hear from industry experts sharing information on certification and advocacy, the MWBE and LSB experience, and finances for your company in today's market. Beginning in 3, 2, 1.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining MLGW's Procurement Fair. We're so excited to have everyone here this morning. We have an amazing panel discussion this morning with some of the industry's greatest experts. So we're going to get to the introductions shortly. We're going to start with Ms. Booker, Ms. Giselle Booker. If you could please introduce yourself and your organization.
Good morning. Giselle Booker, President and CEO of the MMBC Continuum.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Mr. Rodney Crenshaw. And if you could introduce yourself along with just a few words about your organization or company. We'll come back, Mr. Zay.
Rodney Crenshaw with Onyx Technology. We provide network engineering and software implementation support.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hilliard.
George Hilliard with Pete Mitchell and Associates Insurance Agency. We're a 46-year-old agency. We do all types of bonding and insurance.
Next, we have Ms. Dobbins.
Good morning. My name is Alandis Dobbins. I'm the president and CEO of Otika Technologies. And I'd like to say Otika Technologies is the best darn cabling company in this region. We do low voltage cabling, access control, security cameras, and would love to be able to work with anyone on this call.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Next, Mr. Norris.
How you doing? I'm Sean Norris. I'm with SunTrust Commercial Banking Group. I'm a commercial banker here. I've been in the industry for over 30 years. SunTrust is the sixth largest bank in the United States. Glad to be here. Look forward to speaking with you.
We have Miss Carolyn Hardy.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Carolyn Chisholm Hardy, Chief Strategy Officer for Industrial Sales. Industrial Sales has been in business since 1965, so it's one of the oldest industrial electrical supply companies. Oh, my hair, now it just starts to fall. In Memphis, we sell electrical supplies as well as plumbing supplies throughout Shelby County. We participate in large construction projects. We are both minority and women-owned here in this market.
Thank you so much. And Mr. Brady.
Yes, good morning to everyone. My name is Stanley Brady. I am here on behalf of the City of Memphis Office of Business, Diversity, and Compliance. I am the certification manager for the City of Memphis, and we're here where we provide business services, certifications, opportunities for local owned businesses.
Thank you so much. Now, we're going to, starting with you, Ms. Booker, if you could share with us in detail what it is that MMBC provides to the community, especially to minority women and local businesses, and the importance of the services you provide along with the certifications.
Wonderful. Again, thank you for allowing me to be here. I feel like I'm back at home participating here with MLGW. The MMBC Continuum is a regional economic development organization focused on the growth and development of minority and women-owned businesses. We do that through connectivity with corporate partners and with training and development of those businesses based on the passion and desire of the business owner and where they want their business to ultimately end up in the life cycle continuum of business ownership. We also operate an MVDA business center, which is Minority Business and Development Agency Business Center, funded by the U.S. Department of Commerce. We were recently awarded the Tennessee MVDA Business Center, which we're very excited about because it gives us statewide reach in working with minority and women-owned businesses and not just a local Memphis and Shelby County organization. With that organization structure, we're able to provide business consulting, matchmaking, contracting and sourcing opportunities, as well as access to capital. We also operate a training and development arm of our organization, which provides training and development technical assistance to minority and women-owned businesses. And last but not least, we offer one-stop shop certification in the areas of minority business enterprises, women business enterprise, locally owned small businesses, disadvantaged business enterprises, as well as small business enterprises. Certification is a prerequisite for membership in the MMBC because the corporations that we're partners with want to make sure that the businesses that we are connecting to them are in fact who they say they are. And so as it relates to the value and the importance of what we do, I'd like to kind of frame that based on where we are today at MLGW, participating in this fair and talking with business owners, and tied to your theme today, leveling the playing field. When I think about leveling the playing field, and as we are working with businesses to position them to be able to successfully provide goods and services to MLGW, I think about MLGW's practice of awarding bids to the lowest and best bidder and what that means as it relates to certification. So lowest and best bidder is defined as looking at price or the strength of the proposal, the experience or the capacity of a company that's bidding, the qualifications or the experience of the team that is bidding on an MLGW project, as well as qualifications. And qualifications would include anything from licensing to all of the proper registrations, whether that's federal, state, and local, bonding ability, their EMR rating for safety if they're in construction, their access and ability to have working capital to successfully perform on that contract, whether or not they decide to use a local bidding preference or presence in their bid, and adherence to MLGW supplier diversity program. And I say that because I say that adherence to the supplier diversity program lasts. And it's last because if a business does not have the qualifications to do the work, they don't have all the experience in licensing, they don't have the ability to perform, certification is not the end all and the differentiator to be able to be awarded a contract. So while certification is important, certification alone, if you show up at MLGW, is not going to be all that is required in order for you to win a contract. And so the work that we do is to make sure that when businesses approach, whether it's MLGW or any other corporate entity, they are ready to promote, and that supplier diversity or MWBE certification gives them a competitive advantage, and it allows MLGW to be able to count that spending. So we're happy to be able to do what we do in this community to help not only MLGW, but other corporations around the region to successfully utilize minority and women-owned businesses.
Thank you so much. You mentioned the certifications alone are not enough. And in speaking with several organizations, MWBEs here locally, they're very concerned about the weight of a certification. Is it beneficial? Is it helpful in obtaining contracts? And we have some certified businesses here today to kind of share. Mr. Crenshaw and Ms. Hardy and Ms. Dobbins, if you could chime in on what has the certification done for your company and how has it benefited your company specifically in obtaining contracts with governmental agencies?
I'll jump in. One of the things that I've seen is that if a company does not have the heart to work with MBEs, certification is not going to make a difference. Okay. The biggest impact I've seen is when there's a goal and they won't get the contract if the goal is not met. Then all of a sudden they're out shopping for an MBE. And they want an MBE on that team. If there is no goal, you don't get a call. And it doesn't matter if your pricing is competitive. Okay? You won't even get a call, so they'll never know if your pricing is competitive because you never got the call. So the certification alone doesn't help. The organization, whether it's MLGW, whether it's City of Memphis, not only has to set a goal, but it has to be a goal that has teeth. If they don't accomplish it, they don't participate in the next contract. If it's a goal and, they put out that term best efforts, what if your kid put best efforts and graduated from high school? Would you accept best efforts? You say, no, you get your tail in school and I expect you to graduate and I expect you to go on to the next thing so you can get a job that pays a living wage. So no, best efforts makes me ill, to be quite honest with you, okay? No, you have to have teeth. So certification alone will do nothing. Certification alone will not pay the bills. If there's not a goal that allows tier 2 to be accepted, smaller businesses still don't participate. I know there are some government entities that only accept tier 1. Well, if tier 1 requires bonding and requires a certain amount of capital, well, the smaller business don't get to participate. So a goal is just the first step, but a goal alone gets me no business. I'm talking zero. I've had certifications for over 15 years, and I've never got a certification because I had a goal, a certificate on my wall.
Wow. That's interesting. Mr. Rodney, could you speak as well into your experience or your what the benefit is for you?
Well, I'll actually go along with exactly Ms. Hardy said. I've had the exact same experiences that she has. But in addition to that, even dealing with certifications, I had an opportunity a few years back that was given to me that was going to be very profitable to Onyx. And when I went to provide the information, it was the last minute. The prime contractor was at a place to say they needed to have an MBE that was qualified, and all of our qualifications were met. But turned out the certifications that I had from agencies. Some agencies were not nationally recognized. So even in that case, it turned out to put a stain on of going through the effort to be certified by certain agencies that turned out not to have value at a national level. So one of the things that I would say to anyone is that we do need to recognize whatever the field that we're playing in, when those opportunities do come about, which again, back to Ms. Hardy's point, none of those things are going to make a difference at the end of the day. But having the right information, again, that just gives someone a reason to know when it could have been yes. So for certain, I've had that experience of not having the right certifications through the right agency to be able to apply for those particular agencies. And I've even found that even on the federal contracts that we're currently doing, just all certifications through all certifying agencies are not accepted. So that is something that I would for certain caution anyone about going through the act of getting certified or being certified with the right agencies that are being recognized for the work that you are going after.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Brady, we hear a lot about certifications alone aren't helpful. You are the certification office.
Yes. Yeah.
So can you share what can prevent a company from even receiving their certifications, or what other information or resources are valuable to them through the city of Memphis that could help improve their chances?
Thank you for that opportunity. And I'm sure everybody's welcome to their own factual opinion as to what they do. I'm here on behalf of the Office of Business First and Compliance and the importance of certification with the playing field or the area where I am with the city of Memphis. And because of the intent of the mayor, the city council, and others, this was set up in order to provide them with opportunities to go after types of contracts here with the city of Memphis. So we provide those services free to citizens here in Memphis to come in to get the EBO, which we call the MBE certification, the Women-Owned Business certification, and the Small Business certification. I think everybody is correct that there are different locations that have different requirements, but as far as the city of Memphis, we have asked that those who wanted to participate and go after those gold contracts, that we would ask, as was mentioned earlier, our goal is to make sure that you are who you say you are, that you're capable of doing what you say your company can do in order to participate in that process of going after that goal. We also work with the Office of Purchasing as well for the city of Memphis. It depends on where you're going, what area you're trying to work in, what location of the country. I can only speak to the city of Memphis and our city partners, the advantages of having that certification there. What they do in Nashville, what they may do in Chicago, Washington, D.C., the local certifications and our requirements is what's applied to us.
Camera, may I make a comment?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, great. I wanted to, earlier when I made my intro comments, I talked about certification being a differentiator, but it's also a part of each individual business's strategy for where the space that they want to operate in. Mr. Brady just talked about the city of Memphis. And so it's the same way. So as a business owner, if you are focused on the local market, you want to do business with corporations that are here, and so then maybe an MBE and a WBE certification is what you need if the local space is where you want to play in. And Mr. Crenshaw is absolutely correct. If you want to then expand to do business nationally, well, then it's time to look at what is most competitive for you and look at those national organizations and become members of those organizations. It's all based on the strategy of your business. If you are a Shelby County business and you want to participate in MLGW's program, because they're the only ones that accept the LSB certification that we provide, then that's a certification that you might want to look at. That could give you a competitive advantage in certain bidding situations. If you want to participate in the City of Memphis' Small Business Enterprise Program, then you would want to consider the Small Business Enterprise Certification. If you're interested in doing business with the federal government and participating in opportunities at the Airport Authority or at MVda, then you want to look at the DBE certification. So certification is a tool and it's an additional resource that business owners can use. But again, as I said earlier, in the work that we do, we are talking to business owners about the goal of the owner and what that owner wants to accomplish with this business. And as a part of that, it is recommendations on the type of certifications that can give them an advantage to participate in those programs.
Yeah. And
I'll add on that from a business standpoint, we actually, to your point, we go after not only the local certification, but we're also nationally certified because we do business outside of this market. And so we have companies coming to us out of Chicago and Philadelphia and so on. But I will tell you the consistent thing about those companies that are coming is that they have goals. And so they're coming to us in industrial sales because they said, we've got a goal to meet, and like you say, Chicago or Detroit, but I have to use a national certification at that point.
Yeah, but let me come back with the City of Memphis, and I think all that we're saying, along with what we do with the Office of Business Diversity and Compliance, we provide an opportunity for all vendors to come in to be educated. We have pre-certification training and educational opportunities, and we have post-certifications. This is not something I don't believe any business owner is just going to learn overnight. You have to learn what works for the City of Memphis and its partners, what's working on that federal level. You have to go out and learn that as well. But we provide here at the Entrepreneur Network Center here at the Universal Life Building, and sometime at City Hall, we hold our training sessions. We make it known to anybody in the city, anybody that's not registered and those that are on our registry. Education is a key. You may have it, but you need to know when to use it, how to use it, and we provide those opportunities. So I think there is an advantage to everyone's comments that having something and not knowing how to use it is just like not having it at all. And so with the City of Memphis and the OBDC office, we try to do everything that we can to say that training, our educational opportunities, everything that we do here for the City of Memphis, we provide that to any citizen, any vendor at no cost. Education is what's important, and learning what you have, how to use it, when to use it, and to learn about those goals that Ms. Hardy is talking about. We also bring in those professional personnel that we have in the Office of Purchasing to explain when we do the training as well to our local vendors. And we share that information and all are welcome. So I agree with what we all are sharing.
We all mentioned that we know we need the certifications. We know certification alone isn't beneficial for the companies. As we speak to our local companies here, realistically, having the certifications and having that information, Mr. Norris and Mr. Hilliard, we also need to understand that there are many barriers outside of certification for our companies, and we'll get into the financing portion later, but just briefly to mention, how can we help companies overcome other barriers that they may see in their way when it comes to placing successful bids with agencies? What are some of the tips that they can utilize that could help them outside of certification alone? As we mentioned, they need to have the education, they need to have resources, but how can we truly empower them and help them to be true players in the field, to level the field for them as well?
It's just, I think that everyone here has heard me speak, has heard me say the same thing over and over again. And you know, really what it comes down to, you know, basically is going to be to level a playing field. The one thing they can control is financial reporting, historical reporting, and what that looks like as far as tax reporting, how they manage internal reporting, financial reporting. the modeling, forecasting, the ability to show that they can plan successfully and have a history of doing so. I mean, as far as access to capital, I've been as real as everyone here. It's limited, if available at all. The one thing you can control is minority enterprises is being able to develop relationships with your bankers, your corporate relationship managers, but to control and be able to show and communicate your business from a financial standpoint. And as a banker, been a middle market banker, commercial, small business banking. I'm at SunTrust now, but prior to that, I was at JP Morgan for a long time, First Tennessee. Spending time with CDFI at Pathway Lending, and I was with TKS Capital and their subsidiary, Campbell Isaac Company, when they merged for a total actually of 11 years. And the most recent was the past 6 years. And so, I've seen the one thing that's a constant. And also when I got out when I was in college, I did an internship with New York City Transit Authority as a intern in their set-aside program, the MBE, DBE set-aside program, when it was a dedicated program before the Reagan administration took it to court and they said it was illegal. So I've seen this space, but to me as a banker, being in the MBE space, the financial reporting and historical financial reporting and the projections on where you can go and how you're going to get there. Because like Ms. Hardy said, and like, Mr. Crenshaw said, we know the game. We know what it is. There's goals, but there's a lot of organizations that have goals. So, going in that it's not going to be an even playing field, but those companies, some have a stronger desire to complete those goals and achieve those goals than others. So we'll talk more about access to capital, but I think that the financial reporting for minority businesses is paramount.
Thank you, sir. Mr. George, you have something?
Yes, I totally agree with everybody, and I know Carolyn's always going to push us. But as it's been said, that it really, when it started talking about opportunities, started at the heart of the organization, that they really sincere about leveling the playing field. But also, as Joselle said, it all goes back to the individual and how you have your business structure. And what I've seen over the years is that a lot of times when we go to the table, that we just really sometimes just don't have our business together. And as Seth Stanley said, a lot of it is about education. If you what you're doing today, and what Joselle and the other organizations provide opportunities, training as well, I think we have to take advantage of those things. So it all goes back to the individual and how they're structured, and start with education. So I see the barriers that I see is basically because they're barriers because we are not as intentional as we should be in taking care of the things that we need. Certifications and all those things are very important, but it still goes back to you as an individual. Are you going to actually take advantage of those things, products out there, or the training? But at the end of the day, it starts with us as an individual, and those people that we're trying to do business. Where are they really? Are they just setting goals? Or are they really intentional about helping you reach those goals? So I work with many entities, and most of them here in the city and the county are very intentional about doing business, but it still goes back to you as an individual, whether you're on the state, the federal. There's going to be some particular things that you're going to have to deal with, and you, in order to overcome those barriers, you have to be educated and act accordingly.
Thank you so much. Ms. Dobbins?
I wanted to go back to the certification piece. It's a double-edged sword as a small business owner. I don't think it's fair that I needed to prove that I'm a woman and that I'm Black in order to do business. And so that part of it is, difficult to swallow. But in this community, we have to hold our decision makers responsible to make sure that if we're going to pay the money, spend the time. It's a lot of time to get a certification. You got to fill out a lot of paperwork. If we're required to do that, then we need to hold our stakeholders responsible to make sure that we can then compete and have that level playing field. So I put the onus back on the community, the business owners who are here to hold the decision makers responsible, so that when we get these certifications and we do compete, that's one tool in our quiver in order to be able to have the arrow hit the center mark. When we do that, then we need to hold our leaders responsible in the different organizations, in the corporate sector here, because we're 67% of the population, African Americans. We have a plethora of problems. We've had, with the Cummins situation, 13-year-olds shooting each other. I mean, we have to take control of our community. And the way that we do that is hold people like you, Tamara, responsible, and your leaders who put you there. And so we thank you tremendously for putting this on, to have the interest to do this. But I put the onus on us to make sure that we hold our community responsible so that our businesses can be successful, so that we can give back to this community and continue to make it the best that it can be.
I agree.
Jane, that's a great point. And to that point, you all have been, your work has been, your companies have stood out to me personally for me to know you, to say, please join us on the panel. But my question also is some of that responsibility on giving back to other companies coming up under us or behind us, sharing knowledge and insight for them to grow as well. Is that also something that needs to be incorporated, not just from asking the agencies for the resources to help us grow, but is it our responsibility as a business owner to help other businesses even get to the levels where we are, even if we're not where we want to be? But how can we, as the business owners here, what advice could you give companies that may look to you and say, well, you're further off than I am, so how do I get to that point?
Tamara, let me jump in on that one. We're a distributor for Schneider Electric, which is very unusual. Schneider probably has, and they do have thousands of distributors. And there's only 2 minority distributors in the entire United States out of 1,000. So when you talk about percentage of the population, I am sure that we are more than 2 in 1,000 of the U.S. population. You asked, what can you do? Distributorships are normally passed from generation to generation. So the distributors that you're working with are probably a second, third, fourth generation companies. There's no way for us to even acquire those companies, buy into those companies. So the purchasing that we can do on other goods and services that are sold to you, we're buying from someone who is who owns a distributorship. We need to be the person who's getting the pricing and the service that those distributors are getting. And we'll never be able to get that because they won't sell the distributorships. The only way, one of the ways that you can help minority business is that if you're really influential in some of these brands, you have to push these brands to say, hey, look, I need you to open up I need to see first your distributor network. How many minorities do you have? Okay, if you talk to your large truck people, your large transformer people, how many minority distributors do they have? If they say none, then forget it. You're never going to have any numbers in that sector. But the question you can ask is, what are you doing to actively find and add them to your, I know most people are not opening up to acquire new distributors. They don't want them. Everybody's shrinking that space. So the only way you're going to get them to expand is for you to push and say, I want you to go out and pick up a couple of minority distributors. Now we can compete on price and on service, and of course on quality.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
May I jump in?
Sir? Yes, sir. Go on.
Okay. Let me go back to, I think it was Mr. Norris, Mr. Hilliard, and I think I've listened to everybody, and let me be clear, since I've been here with the city of Memphis and gotten a chance to hear Mayor Strickland, it was and still is and continues to be his intent to make sure that we are playing a role in every area of concern that everybody is discussing here today. In so doing that, we listen. I know I listen to a lot, and I know that our office listens to a lot of people. I think I've met everybody on this on the screen here myself. But our goal is to listen to the everyday business owner as well and provide them with an opportunity to be heard and to be helped. And so the intent of the city council, the mayor, this office, that's the purpose it was created, was to listen and also try to get the information and the education to them in order to make it to the Miss Hardy, or to make it to a Miss Booker or Mr. Norris or Miss Dobbins or Mr. Crenshaw or Mr. Hilliard. They have to start somewhere. So we provide that opportunity for them to come in, to talk about their business plans, to talk about how we can move them forward, how to direct them toward funding, how to find a Mr. Norris to come in and share, or Miss Hardy. I think everybody here has shared their expertise only because there was a platform afforded because of the intent of the leadership of the city of Memphis. And if the efforts of this town or this city is to move forward, we still have to go back sometime to grassroots efforts and models in order to bring them in and share with them. We have a facility, which I'm sure everybody else will say they do as well, but we have the space and we reach out to the experts to come in at no cost to talk to them and to help them so we can learn about bonding, we can learn more about insurance, we can learn from Mr. Norris about the insurance and the pitfalls from Ms. Hardy or Ms. Dobbins, Mr. Crenshaw, or even Ms. Booker. I think it's the effort of trying to work together to help them all. And so there is no, I think, one solution, because I keep everybody say right here in Memphis is what we're talking about and trying to help those who are here. So I believe that the space is here, the opportunity is here. We're doing everything we can to bring in the best to help those who have questions. We still have to follow the requirements that are set here by the city to help our business owners. And all we ask is that they make the time to come into one of our two offices at City Hall or here right at the Universal Life Building to ask questions, to seek help, and we try to provide them with that assistance. Education is number one.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Can I camera? Estella just stated, and this is something that I know and I've seen consistently. As we speaking today, we're working with the Memphis Minority group providing insurance information. So Stanley is absolutely right. We work with him many times. But then I agree that should be a model. And I think Memphis Light, Gas and Water, you are a model, and I've said this quite often. And I've said some other entities here. But at the end of the day, it's owned about not only just 2 or 3 organizations who are very intentional about providing opportunities. I think it needs to be countywide, statewide. And until we just actually see that as a mission to really encourage others to do some of the same thing that you're doing today, as well as what's going on with the city and other entities, it's not going to have the influence, or it's not going to give us the necessary tools or guidance that we need, because it's so inconsistent on what these agencies are doing. So if I'm here today getting all excited about what's going on with Memphis Light, Gas and Water and opportunity you provided, and then next week or two, someone else is maybe saying the same thing, but they're not as intentional. So I think it needs to be a state, citywide, a countywide, or federal-wide opportunities. So we should be trying to say the same thing, provide some similar opportunities. But education is definitely key. We've been doing this for 4 to 6 years, and we recognize who's out there, who's really intentional, and those who are just really just going through the motion.
Right.
Thanks for allowing me to say that.
Thank you.
I want to say something. I heard earlier, I know that there are probably businesses that are participating in this event today that may not presently be doing business with MLGW, or there's some that may be doing business but want to do more with MLGW. I heard something, and I don't know if anybody else interpreted the way I did, but I think that it would be a disservice to business owners to think that, minority business owners, to think that in order to do business with MLGW or the city or any other government entity, they have to be certified. I think Ms. Dobbins made a comment about the cost and the time. Certification is very intrusive. There is a cost associated with it, but it is necessary for these entities that have and require certification. But one of the things that I made sure when I was at MLGW all those years ago, however many years ago, I would be very clear when a minority firm came to talk to me about doing business with MLGW. And I wanted to make sure that they understood that they did not have to be certified to do business with MLGW. But as a procurement officer at MLGW, I wanted them to be certified because that's the only way as a company we could count their spend toward the company's supply diversity program and goals. But if they were qualified, met all of the requirements, we wanted them at that time to bid as prime contractors and prime suppliers. We didn't want them to only be subcontractors or to only be able to have an opportunity because there was a goal. And so for any business owner that's listening, the goal is not for you to be a huge subcontractor and only get pieces of work. You know, as Ms. Dobbins said when she did her intro, they want to provide low voltage lighting to everybody, and they're qualified to do it. And she's not,
Absolutely.
I'm sure she's not saying, I'm here and I want a little piece of any contract that somebody has for low voltage cabling. So I just want to make sure that the business owner's aspirations for themselves is not to be a big subcontractor and only get pieces of work. But they're saying, we're here, we're qualified. We want to understand MLGW's requirements, their qualifications, and what I need to, as a business owner, to be able to compete on a level playing field with everybody else. And I want the whole pie. I don't want a little piece of this one that you're serving today. And so that's what I want business owners to understand. And when I say certification is just a tool, it's a resource. It gives you, in some instances, a competitive advantage if there is a subcontract. But I don't think any business owner stepped out, left a corporate job, or put their family's finances and took everything that they had and started a business because they wanted to be a small business owner. They want to be successful. So I say that to say, certification is a tool. You don't have to be certified to do business with anybody. But if they have a program where they're counting MWD spend, you're going to need that certification in order for them to count. Thank you.
And I'll just quickly piggyback on that. If we hold our local people, for those of us who are doing business locally, responsible, then it makes it worth it. It makes it worth it. Otherwise, you that to your bottom line the same. And so we have to make sure that our local decision makers do count those numbers and that it makes it worth it.
Thank you so much. We have Mr. Joseph Claiborne that has joined us. We're going to wrap up shortly. Let's begin a few Q&A questions before we move on to the next portion of the day. But we've had some concerns come through, some questions come through regarding streamlining the process, favoritism, nepotism. We've had companies express concern about just their experience alone or just getting a foot through the door. One of the things that can be difficult for startups and new companies is covering basic business expenses such as valuable office space, internet access, IT support. These are for startup companies. So I guess if we could briefly share maybe some pointers on the directions they should go in. Ms. Booker and Mr. Brady, you both mentioned that your organizations provide resources for companies. So could you briefly mention the resources that you all provide or any seminars or workshops that they can attend on an ongoing basis to help them build what they need to begin?
Okay.
So first of all, the MMBC Continuum, our business model does not support startups. Because keep in mind, the businesses that are members of MMBC are businesses that want to do business with the MLGWs of the world, the airport authorities of the world, business to business, large corporations, and just understanding the requirements to do business with those entities. In most instances, startups are not at a place. So we would refer them over to Mr. Brady over at the city, which has the capacity and the resources to help those small startups to get started. And then once he does his magic with them and get them to a certain point, then he can bring them back over to the MMBC for us to take them and direct them forward.
And so those who are looking, who are watching us now, we're not competing against each other. My answer is not to go against another person's answer. We do, in fact, support startups. That's how businesses begin. That's how Mr. Norris, that's how Mr. Hilliard, that's how Ms. Dobbins. I think small businesses make up a large portion of what's going on in America. Without them, we don't know where we would be. But the training, the technology, you can find it on our website. You can find it on our newsletter. Let me say it again, that the mayor, the city council, I hear you talk about those who are in these positions. We press them and they work hard to provide us with the funding, to open up the door, to make the space. We here at the Entrepreneur Network Center, we have meeting rooms, we have space for businesses, as Mr. Hilliard would say, that are serious. They are allowed to come into the virtual space that we here set up, use our computers, any citizen of the city of Memphis can come in and use the office space, host meetings, come to our free training. All of this is in our newsletters that we put out monthly. And you can hold the city to that. I think a lot of people have participated. We go out and get professionals to come in and train and counsel and consult with our local business owners of any size, entrepreneurs, business services, writing your resume, everything. We allow them to come into our facilities, both at City Hall and here at Universal Life Building to get it. I will agree. There is a difference between the ones that you're trying to put out there and the ones that are trying to get started. I've met most of the people here in the city who are trying to make it, who are trying to get started, who need the help. And this office has made it a point to open up the door to all. And the city has made it a point to provide us with the funding to meet them at that point of need as a business owner. Not everyone is going to start off walking. Some people got to crawl. And that's what this office is here for, along with helping those big ones. But again, I think you said it correctly. Our job was to help pass them off to others and direct them to other opportunities. This is not the only swimming pool in the city. We have other swimming pools. And so we get that certification so that they're able to come over there and swim in your pool. Mm-hmm. So education is it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Joseph, we're going to give you a second to just introduce yourself and your program before we wrap up.
Well, hello to all. Good morning to you. I do apologize for my tardiness and being late. And as I looked over these questions that was brought forward, I haven't had the opportunity, obviously, to sit in on a lot of the questions. I would like to weigh in on that one as it spoke to the small business and the startups. Because the Memphis Airport Authority is a recipient of federal funds and therefore mandated to have this program with the intent of trying to do more business with minorities businesses, and more specifically in our community. We would certify a company as a DBE from the day that they are licensed to be a business owner, so day one. The startup part for us is because we do realize that a lot of companies who may be just starting and forming as a business may not necessarily be just starting in business. Therefore, they may have already began to deal with some of the learning curve. And because of it, just because they just got started today, we will not look past that for the process, either for certification or either for doing business. Of course, we want to see companies who have the capability and the capacity and the wherewithal to do business for the airport in those areas of industry classification. So I would definitely be looking for that. And as far as the training and development piece that goes along with that, we partner with several of the people that are here today. Of course, Mr. Hilliard and P. Mitchell and Associates, we've done a lot with them as related to insurance and bonding and capacity. We work with the city. We work with different area and arms of the city, from the startup companies all the way to MAMCA and some of the other different agencies. And look here, I lean on Carolyn Hardy very heavily. I talk to her, and we talk about a lot of different things that goes on. So those avenues and opportunities are always there. And because the airport authority is an economic development engine, not just as it relates to being a transportation hub, but as a person and a partner in the city as it relates to business growth and development. We strive very heavily to not only be a participant as it relates to those entities in our marketplace who are there for the purpose of trying to grow and develop business, but then we also try to make sure that we do connections and connect them with other partners outside of the area to grow the business on a national basis as well. So with that being said, I'm glad to be a part of this today. Again, please accept my apologies for being tardy and being late. Please believe me, it was very important. And I do consider this as an excellent cause, and I'm glad to be a part of it. And anything that we at the Memphis Airport Authority can do to help with this process, we're glad to just participate in anything that needs to be done. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Brady. We did have a question come in asking about the website to get access to the city resources for startup companies.
Let me say a couple of things. The website, I think you can go to memphistn.gov, Memphis, like Tennessee, tn.gov, and you will see the word business that will begin to tell you some of the opportunities that we have for the city of Memphis. Secondly, the telephone number 636-6210, 901-636-6210 will get you to the Office of Business Diversity and Compliance at City Hall, and you can ask for anyone there. And the other number ending in 6300 will get you to the Entrepreneur Network Center, and you can make an appointment with me or anyone on the OBDC staff at any of those locations. But our website, www.memphistn.gov, will bring you over to the OBDC, and we'd be more than happy. That is our job, to serve you.
Thank you so much. I want to thank everyone. We are pressed for time, so we have to move on to the next portion. If I could have Mr. Hilliard, Mr. Norris, please remain here in the Zoom with me. Everyone else, thank you all so much for joining us. We have a video sharing with you all. We want to let everyone know our procurement process here at MLGW. So just stick around, tune in for our procurement process, followed by bonding and financing for MWBEs with Mr. Hilliard and Mr. Norris. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
MLGW intentionally encourages the growth of minority-owned, women-owned, and locally owned small business enterprises by providing opportunities to participate in contracts for goods and services, or in a contractor or subcontractor arrangement with MLGW. Power Playbook number 2 features the Procurement and Contracts Department of MLGW. The Procurement and Contracts Department is responsible for the most cost-effective method of procuring materials, products, and services for MLGW through 3 pivotal areas, including contract management, who facilitates in contracts for services from contractors and consultants; purchasing, who oversees the procurement of goods and materials; and supplier diversity, who seeks to provide maximum opportunities for certified minority-owned, women-owned, and locally owned small businesses. Let's now hear from the department staff.
Good morning. My name is Randy Orsby. I'm the manager of the Procurement and Contracts Department. We are responsible for procuring goods and services for the division. Our purchasing department is charged with procuring tangible goods that the people use, like wire, cable, trucks, software, those kind of things. The contracts department is responsible for all the different type of service contracts within the division. We also have the supply diversity department, and their main responsibility is trying to enhance as much supply diversity goal, women-owned, minority businesses, and local small businesses as possible. One of the things that we try to do is we try to enhance our and update our processes and procedures to provide an opportunity for our vendors or to gain opportunity with our bids. So what we want to do in MLGW is provide a fair chance to all our vendors, to our minority, women-owned, and local small businesses. We want to give them a great opportunity to do business with us as much as possible so they can increase and enhance their business in the local community.
Hello, my name is Tasha Kelly, and I am the supervisor of the Contract Management Department. My area is charged with procuring services on the behalf of MLGW. It is our responsibility to ensure that the procurement of these services are at the most favorable overall total cost through accepted practices that encourages open competition. As a public procurement official, we are authorized via the MLGW procurement policy to solicit bids, develop, negotiate, execute contracts, and purchase orders at the request of various departments within our organization. If you are interested in doing business with MLGW, these are some of the items that may be required during the bidding process: a certificate of insurance, bid bonds, performance bonds, contractors' labor, materials, and payment bond. To take advantage of MLGW procurement opportunities, we post our notice to bidders in the Memphis Daily newspaper, the online bid notification system, and at MLGW's bidders orientation meetings.
Hi, my name is Kamala Mitchell, and I'm the supervisor of the purchasing department. The purchasing department is responsible for procuring goods and material for the division. This includes all material required to establish and maintain our infrastructure for electric, gas, and water. We also are responsible for procuring material for our operational needs. That includes anything from computer hardware to office supplies. I work with a team of 7 procurement specialists that solicit bids for goods for the division. We solicit requests for quotations daily to replenish inventory for our storerooms. The majority of the RFQs for storeroom material are designated as sheltered market opportunities, which are only open for competition between certified local small businesses. Under the Sheltered Market Program, every acquisition of goods with an anticipated dollar value under $100,000 is automatically reserved exclusively for the certified sheltered market participants. We encourage suppliers interested in furnishing goods to MLGW to contact the purchasing department so that we can connect you with the procurement specialist responsible for purchasing the items you sell.
Memphis Light Gas and Water Division is very intentional in our efforts to encourage the growth of minority-owned, women-owned, and locally-owned small businesses. We want to ensure that we are affording equitable opportunities for these businesses to have contracts with goods and services, with MLGW, as well as opportunities to enter into contractor or subcontractor agreements with MLGW. Now, to be classified as a minority-owned business enterprise, the business must be 51% owned, operated, and controlled by a minority that is a U.S. citizen. Classifications for minorities include African Americans, Native Americans, Hispanic Americans, or Asian Pacific Americans. To be classified as a woman-owned business, the business must be 51% owned, operated, and controlled by a woman or women who are U.S. citizens. And to be classified as a locally owned small business, the business headquarters or the physical office must reside in Shelby County, Tennessee, and at least 51% owned and operated by a resident of Memphis, Tennessee. Anyone who is interested in doing business with MLGW Division should go online at mlgw.com/bids to become an actual vendor. You can register in the iSupplier portal to do business with MLGW. There are several agencies available for companies to become certified. Certification is a necessity if you are going for a bid that has the supplier diversity goal that is assigned to it.